We try to make it I would say
nope, you can put it wherever you want. All right. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Ooh, here we are again. Some glorious day. It won't be a scramble to get all these cameras set up right before the service, and it will be once we are not using these cameras anymore. A couple of quick announcements before we get started. The first is to say that it is good to see everybody, and it is a pleasure to be here, and it is a pleasure to be here both in person and on the live stream, because we are, in fact, still in what we hope are the closing months of a global pandemic. So that's going to change a couple things about how we do the service today. We are going to ask that you keep your masks on while you're in the building today. You'll notice that folks up front don't have masks on. That's mostly because we've been vaccinated and we are performing the service, especially for folks on the live stream. If you saw in your e-blast on Friday, we are changing some of how we do things going forward. Beginning on Monday, we will not be requiring masks in most of the building. We'll still be requiring masks in the Sunday school wing of the building because kids aren't vaccinated yet. We won't require registration in advance, and we will continue to hum rather than sing along with hymns over the summer. We're almost there. We're almost there. And we will get there. Things in Lancaster County are looking well right now. And so we are hoping to get to be fully reopened in every way, including singing, by the water communion in the fall. The last announcement is that next Sunday, our worship service will be at 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. This is because every Sunday for General Assembly, rather than hosting our own service here, we stream the worship service from the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly. Often this is streamed live from the event where it's being held. This year it's being streamed live from various different places, but it will happen at 11 rather than 10. So we'll both point you to it in your e-blast on Friday, but we will also have this room open and it's streaming up here if you'd like to come watch together with everybody else. With that, we will conclude the announcements and begin our worship service. And we begin with music with hymn number 207, Earth Was Given as a Garden.
And if you would rise in body and or spirit and hum with me, that would be great. Number 207?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's
Yeah,
not,
that's the other one.
that's not what's on here, so
I was like, wow, I'm having trouble finding that.
okay.
This one you'll know. This is the same tune as Blue Boat Home.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here.
Thank you. Show to us what God where our life was fresh and free. Gently guide us out and waters into full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use our good and God, how to touch the earth and birds, and once more we'll even fly. Blessed ye are you, all your children, all creation make us whole. Interwoven, connected, unified, and inmost soul.
So I do have to apologize to the folks in the live stream. We have lost 2 cameras this morning, so we are down to the single camera. So sorry everybody that it will just be a profile shot for the rest of the service. Our call to worship this morning was written by Amy Morgenstern, who writes, "Each of us is a flower with a delicate beauty uniquely our own. We may be like sunflowers, turning always to the light. We may be like night blooming cereus, only displaying our fragrant petals when it is dark and we think no one can see. We may be hothouse flowers, far from our native lands, cautiously tended within a harsh and unfamiliar climate. May our lives bloom like the flowers. We may be gray-headed like dandelions, eager to launch the new generation with the first strong gust of wind, past our own bright youth, but ready to pass our wisdom on in precious gossamer carried seeds. Some of us, sometimes, spring up overnight and fade in the hot glare. Some of us, sometimes, are roses, slowly assembling petal after tightly wrapped petal, and revealing our full glory only once everything is in place. Sometimes we are roadside weeds, bursting improbably, loveliness bursting improbably from the dust and debris. May we offer our beauty with the simplicity of flowers, expecting no recognition, hoping for nothing, giving out of what we are, and knowing it is enough. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. We are a church of open minds. We are a church of loving hearts. We are a church of helping hands. Together we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in the world. Welcome once again to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln on this Sunday morning. My name is the Reverend Oscar Sinclair. It is a pleasure to gather with you all. Whether you are here in person, whether you are joining us on the live stream, whatever your age, whatever your gender, whatever your skin color, whomever you love, you are welcome here this morning. We are about the work of transformation here. We say that we are here to transform ourselves and the world. Part of doing that work of transformation is sharing this place. So our ask every morning that we gather here is simple. If this is a place that means something in your life, then go forward and talk about it. Say that this is a place of transformation. It is also a place of transformation for all ages. The flower communion service that we do every spring to close out our congregational year is intentionally an all ages service. So with that, I will turn over the pulpit to Chelsea. I'm sorry, I just stepped right on Elizabeth's piece.
Shall we do that now?
Shall we do that now? Sorry about that.
Our story today is called Rose's Garden by Peter Reynolds. Rose was a dreamer, an adventurer. She explored the world in her fantastic teapot. Rose collected seeds from each place she visited to remember it by. The teapot became heavy and brimmed with seeds. It's time to plant my garden. There in the distance was a big, bustling city by the sea. Welcome, friend. Sail upriver, it's lovely there, the harbor master called down to Rose. Thank you. I think I'll explore the city first, said Rose. She soon found herself in the busiest part of the city, and there she spotted a dusty, forgotten stretch of earth. Rose pondered. This little patch needs some color. Rose began preparing the soil, imagining what a different, colorful place this could be. And when she went to gather her seeds from the teapot, she noticed a flock of birds flying away from it. The birds seemed full and happy. Oh no. Rose slipped into the teapot and carefully gathered the few remaining seeds. She tucked them inside her pocket, then hurried from the dock. Rose planted her seeds and waited patiently. But nothing seemed to happen. The rains of spring made the soil too wet. The heat of summer made the ground too dry. The chill of autumn came too early, and she waited through the snowy winter. The snow melted, the ground warmed, and still Rose waited, determined that her seeds would awaken. Word spread of Rose's faith in her garden. One warm spring day, a girl approached Rose with a gift. It was a paper flower. I made it myself for your garden, the girl said, beaming. said Rose. And the next day, a boy appeared with his own handcrafted flower. Rose was delighted. This will be in good company when my own flowers bloom. Day after day, more children came to visit, each with a paper flower, and each told a story about coming to the city, having journeyed from all over the world like seeds carried on a breeze. Before long, the garden was filled with color, glorious color, thousands of flowers, each one made of paper. Rose marveled, and as she waited among them, she heard a sound, a buzzing. She noticed a bee gently land on one of her flowers. She peered closer. This flower was not made of paper. She breathed in its sweet perfume, and then she noticed another real flower and another. And each flower, real or paper, had appeared around her because Rose believed. Her faith had gathered a garden and the stories of a city. Rose realized then that her travels were over. She was home. Home in this amazing garden. This splash of color in the middle of a great city, surrounded by stories and flowers. Here in Rose's garden, everybody's garden. And that is the end of our story. And today we have both real and paper flowers, if you care to make a paper flower as well. And you can either leave it for someone else to take or take one home yourself.
Our next hymn is Come Thou Font of Every Blessing. And I should say there was a moment this week of trying to figure out what version of the lyrics to this song to use. Because you'll notice that the lyrics in our hymnal are much different than the lyrics that I grew up knowing this song. I did not know this, but I got a note from my colleague that the UU lyrics were written by Eugene Navius, who was a longtime director of religious education at the UUA, and for most of his early career closeted. And so my friend, as was describing this, that this particular hymn is particularly poignant in the midst of Pride Month, because it lays out a vision of hope, what my colleague Reverend Kohlmeyer called a dream of queer liberation in biblical language. So this is Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Let us rise in body and or spirit. Birthday for us hemlock on.
Each week, as part of our service, we take up a collection to support the work of this church and our partners in the broader community. And once a month, we highlight a particular partner in our Share the Plate program, and then donate the proceeds of the collection that week to that organization. This is a Share the Plate Sunday, and so we are highlighting the work of Fresh Start, and rather than have a presentation from the pulpit, we're going to try and do it on video. So, give us a second to make sure that we've got it.
Each year at the spring congregational meeting, our members vote for 10 organizations for Share the Plate. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Fresh Start Home for Women, and Monica Zinke is here with me today. Each year at the spring congregational meeting, our members vote for 10 organizations for Share the Plate. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Fresh Start Home for Women, and Monica Zinke is here with me today.
Hello, my name is Monica Zinke. I'm the Executive Director of Fresh Start, and I want to start by saying thank you to all of you for your support of our program. As most of you know, we are a program for women experiencing homelessness. We're located over in Havelock, and we have, during a non-pandemic, we have 24 women that live with us at any time and stay with us and work with the case manager while they're working to move out of homelessness and back into a home of their own. So that's what we do. We have been involved with the Unitarians for a long time, almost since the beginning, I think, with Reverend Charles and with lots and lots of people from your congregation on our board and as volunteers and as donors and supporters. So I just wanted to thank you for everything that you do for us. And I wanted to share an example of somebody that we have served recently. So we had, I'm going to call her Mary, just for confidentiality. Mary moved out recently. She'd been living at Fresh Start with us for almost 10 months. She also had been in the Fresh Start program several years ago, but had hit some new struggles and came back into the program and had just gotten sober again and was looking to build a positive support network, work on improving her boundaries, and work on getting a job so that she could get back into a place of her own. And during that almost 10 months that she was at Fresh Start, she accomplished all of those things. She found a job. She actually saved up a couple of $1,000s in savings while she was there. And she's still working on boundaries, but she had put some in place with people and was working on building a positive support network and had maintained her sobriety and had support for that. And so it's her success. You know, we provide the environment that is an empowering environment and a place where she can live safely and with emotional safety, not just physical safety, and with people there to support her. So we provide the environment, and she takes all those really important steps while she's at Fresh Start. And that's what you all are supporting every time you do something with Fresh Start, every time you're involved with us. So thank you so much.
Each week, too, as part of our service, we take time to share the joys and sorrows of our life with each other. We do this because we know that we are interconnected, that what happens to one of us matters to all of us. And we know that celebration is better together, and grief is easier to bear. So, into this shared silence, I'll invite you to speak the name of anyone you are carrying in sorrow or grief this morning. I'll repeat the names into the microphone for folks on the live chat, and I will repeat the names that folks are typing into the live chat into this room. So we're in Dana.
Tom McLean.
Tom McLean. Tom McLean.
Here pre-COVID. He was a longtime member of this congregation, and he was a longtime activist in helping both in Detroit and here. And I wanted to mark his death.
Tom McLean, who was a longtime member and activist who passed in the last year.
The family of Dr. Paul Johnsgard.
Family of Dr. Paul Johnsgard.
The individual who was at a pride parade that got hit by a car passed yesterday. Not in Lincoln.
A person who was hit by a car at a pride parade, not at Lincoln. Wendy.
Angie and family.
Angie and family. In the live chat too, for Mike and Marie and Harmony. We know too that sorrow is not the only story, that we also come together to celebrate joys in our life. So what joys do we bring to this space today?
Marcia and Ray as they celebrate Erica and Megan's wedding today.
Marcia and Ray as they celebrate Erica and
Megan.
Megan's wedding today.
Our daughter Joanne is 50 today.
Joanne is 50 today.
Juneteenth, that's a federal holiday.
Juneteenth as a federal holiday.
Dads.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Dads.
Dads.
And grandfathers.
And grandfathers.
Ginger, who's recuperating fine from congestive heart failure. She's doing great.
Ginger, who is recovering.
Ruby's first birthday.
Ruby's first birthday. Time of family.
A great pride float yesterday from Unitarian Church of Lincoln.
Yes, indeed. Yesterday, the Unitarian Church of Lincoln participated in what I assume is the first annual Star City Pride Parade.
Stacy's dancing.
And Craig's.
There was some dancing at Pride yesterday. There's also a note for Nicole and her family in the chat. I'm not sure if it is a joy or a sorrow. We hold them as well. For all these, and for names not spoken but no less deeply felt for it, we hold a moment of silence. And we'll continue with music.
Plant the seed of yourself wherever you may go, and may the wind and water make you stronger as you grow. And may the earth bring flowers from the seeds that you sow, and where there is need, plant a seed. Plant the seeds of love and of joy and peace. Plant the seeds of love and of joy and peace. Plant the seeds of love and of joy and peace. And where there is need, plant a seed.
Plant the seeds of love. Plant the seeds of joy. Plant the seeds of peace. And where there is need, plant a seed.
Plant the seed of yourself wherever you may go, and may the wind and water make you stronger as you grow. And may the earth bring flowers from the seeds that you sow, and where there is need, plant a seed. Plant the seeds of yourself, and wherever you may go, and may the wind and water make you stronger as you grow. And may the earth bring flowers from the seeds that you sow, and where there is need, plant a seed. Plant the seed of yourself, and wherever you may go, and may the wind and water make you stronger as you grow. And may the earth bring flowers from the seeds that you sow, and where there is need, plant a seed. And where there is need, plant a seed.
This morning,
That needs to be a joy.
that is also a joy. This morning we're celebrating what is sometimes called flower communion, sometimes called the flower ceremony. We do this at the end of each congregational year. We bracket our congregational year together with liturgies of sharing. Water communion in the fall as we do in-gathering, and then this flower service each spring. By way of introduction today, we're going to play a reflection that was produced by Foothills Unitarian out in Colorado. You've heard the name Gretchen Haley many times. She writes calls to worship that we use here throughout the year. But I think this is the first time we'll actually hear her voice in one of our worship services. So this is Gretchen Haley's reflections on flower communion.
Nearly 100 years ago, the Unitarian minister Norbert Chopek offered his Czechoslovakian congregation a ritual to respond to their questions about how to be a community that welcomed rather than suppressed diversity. Czechoslovakia was a country formed in the aftermath of war. Struggling just 5 years after the end of that war with questions of belonging and identity, trust and anxiety. Chopek's ritual took the traditional bread and wine communion that his community was too heretical for and too resistant to these usual symbols and played with this ritual. He turned instead to the beauty of nature all around them and invited each of his congregants to find a flower and bring it to the church one Sunday. That each person would find the flower that was beautiful to them was a symbol of their affirmation that each of us has a piece of the truth, our unique sense of what beauty means. On their way into the church, his congregation was in turn invited, each of them, to place that flower in a vase, which symbolized their free choice to enter into community alongside all the other people that saw beauty in their own way, symbolized by their flowers placed there as well. A free church where people freely choose to walk together across their differences. Once everyone had gathered, they'd bring the vase forward. Then the minister, Chopak, he would bless it. And then he'd invite everyone to choose a flower to take home with them, but just not the one that they came with. Again, this free choice affirmed each person's choice to be blessed by another and to receive with an open heart their different understandings of beauty and to feel connected rather than divided by this difference. In this moment where so many forces seek to divide people, to play on our fears of differences and our anxieties of the other, here we remember that we freely choose to walk together and to be blessed by the differences between us and to see these differences as beauty.
So we end each year with this ceremony. First written by Norbert Chopak almost a century ago. And Chopak's, like all good liturgy, maybe all good religion, uses a simple, recognizable physical symbol, a prompt to represent something somewhat hidden, but of profound meaning. Religious community is transformative. We are interconnected, intertwined like this bouquet. We grow from interacting with each other throughout the year here, and we leave different than who we were when we came. And the practice of religious community is a practice of beauty. Here's how Kimberly Debus described it in 2017. She wrote, "At its best, religious community is a shelter from the storm. It is a space set apart where we can release our world weariness and breathe into the present moment. And yet it isn't a place that simply holds the holy for us. Rather, it helps us integrate our faith into the rhythms of our daily lives. It makes space for restoring loving and intimate connections with each other. It is the small rituals and gestures that we undertake with each other in this sacred space that give everyday life its meaning and value, that comfort us, make us feel at home, rooted and generous. It is the safe space for learning and discussion that prepares us lovingly for the hard work of justice and compassion ahead. It is the ever-present invitation to stop, be still, and give thanks." So that's the invitation. At the end of each congregational year and at the beginning of each congregational year, it is to be here, to be interconnected. And for this not to be simply a place where we demonstrate the holy somehow on Sunday morning. I'm not sure how we would do that. But live into it with each other. Live into it in each connection that we have, whether it's in this building, in coffee hour, whether it's on Zoom in a really weird congregational year that we just had. purpose is always the same. The purpose is interconnectedness. The purpose is deepening our humanity. James Luther Adams said that churches are where we come to practice being human. Chopek would have agreed with that. So in a moment, Elizabeth will play some more, and as she does, we invite you to come forward and take a flower, but not the one you came with, because this is a place of beauty and transformation, because we grow from interacting with each other. Go home with a different flower than you came with. It's a simple reminder, but it points to something deeper. And, because we do this every year, these are the words that Norbert Chopik wrote 100 years ago for this ceremony, to bless these gathered flowers. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these, your messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection, and devotion to your will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of your most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do your work in this world. So you are invited to come forward and take a flower. For those in the live stream, we will take the flowers that remain and put them in front of the church, where they will remain until about 12:30 today. So if you want to come by and gather one up after the service, you are invited to as well. And with that, we are at the end of another congregational year together. It began, if you can believe it, 10 months ago with a virtual congregational retreat. That was actually this congregational year. It was about 900 years ago, but there are at least 3 people in this room going, wait, when was that? We did that? Yes, 10 months ago. I am one of those 3 people. Anyway, it has been good to be with you, whether in person or on live streams or on Zoom. We're going to go forth from this place, but as you do, we will extinguish this flame, we say, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we are together again. So we'll end, fittingly, with more music.
You are welcome to hum along. This is not a performance, just leading a hymn, but it's kind of a long one, so. Words and deeds of those before us, waken here to keep us strong. Lend our voices in the chorus of creation's living song. Courage puts us with our eyes upward to the shining skies. Who calls us on? Who calls us on?
You can tell her no, but she's looking for the green sticker. I remember saying that to myself. They get I don't take that. This is fun. And I love it. Thank you. I feel so nice. I think it's not bad because at least I'm breathing in.